Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us today on another wonderful Enterprise Sage podcast. Today, our guest is Stacy Gielda. Stacy's with AbleSource. Known Stacy a couple decades, a very interesting, creative guy when it comes to these kinds of things. Stacy, I always like to start off with the question of, how did you get into the business that you're in?
It's funny. Yeah, we stumble into a career sometimes. We don't think that's what we're planned to do. My goal was to be in the music industry and become a music producer. That's what I wanted to do as a kid growing up. Went to college, broadcasting in college and all that. Then I got out of school and they wanted to pay me, like six. I was like, six what? 6 grand a month? 600 a week? What's six? They said, oh, $6 an hour. That's funny. Uh, so I got into the health insurance and started brokering health insurance. And with a buddy of mine, we built a pretty nice sized agency in the Phoenix market. And then it just wasn't filling all of the needs for business owners. And this guy offered me a position at a company called a PEO. It's called MPRO. And I was like, what is a PEO? And then, well, that's a professional employer organization. And I was like, all right, what does that do? And it's called co-employment. And I was like, so new at this. I had no idea. This is like January of 2000. So that's a while back, 26 years ago. And I was like, okay, let's figure this out a little bit. And since I knew benefits really well, he thought that was a good position for me to be in at his company. And then I started selling the services of this payroll and human resources and workers' comp and all of the benefits that come along with it. And I kind of liked it. I said, this is actually kind of cool. These business owners are really, really needing someone to handle like workers' comp claims and benefits and all the headaches that business owners don't want to do. Business owners, well, if they hang drywall, they want to hang drywall. They want to bid a deal, do a deal. Bid a deal, do a deal. Payroll, oh goodness gracious, who's going to sit down and do payroll? They got to hire somebody. But safety and workers' comp and all those programs and drug policies and harassment issues and everything else that goes along with being an employer. When you decide to be self-employed, you don't think about all of those extra things, right? Well, that's what the PEO was designed for. It started back in the early 90s and it kind of grew itself over years. And now it's just huge across the United States. And when I was helping my clients, I could see they needed more than just the human resources. I was asking them things like, well, where do you want to take your business? Where do you want to go? Well, I'd love to expand. They say, I would love to move into maybe Nevada. I'd like to have an office there or maybe into New Mexico, or rarely they said California. But, but they wanted to expand. And I said, well, how do you want to do it? You want to do it through an acquisition? You want to do it through just referrals and growing and all that. So getting to know the business owners on a different level really helped me understand these ideas that entrepreneurs have and what they want to do and the troubles they're going to have. So when I left MPRO in 2005, I started a company called AbleSource because I found a knack for actually helping people get what they need. So if they need something, I seem to have a knack to be able to source it for them. So I said, well, AbleSource, that sounds like a good name for a company. And I ran with that. And over the years, I have helped people, not only with their other companies, but in this industry of PEOs and staffing and payroll companies. I have built about 7 different companies in that space. So I've helped grow PEOs. I've helped grow staffing companies. I've helped grow payroll company. And over the years, in doing that, I've helped mining company grow. We built a restaurant in Scottsdale. We did an entertainment company. I got a little bit of wish to play in the entertainment world a little bit. That was a lot of fun. Remediation companies. So I really got to feel a lot of different industries and helping them grow. And AbleSource has been a huge part of sitting down with those owners. And I guess a lot of people in the industry call them trusted advisors, right? And I really become that trusted advisor for my clients. They really trust my direction, my words, and what I'm sharing with them of how to get to the next level and how to keep their margins healthy. So anyway, it's been a fun year. It's been, I've been 21 years self-employed, 26 years into the business, and it's been fabulous. It's a great industry to be in.
So, Stacy, I'm wondering, out of the thousands of business owners that you worked with, did you ever find one that went into the business to deal with HR issues?
Yeah. No. Yeah, yeah. That's not a thing. There are people that go to college to be HR managers, but no one decides to be an HR. I really knew very little about HR when I got involved in it. Now I know more than I want to know. I mean, it's a lot of information. There's a lot of schooling that goes along with it. The state and federal regulations are different in every state. So what you're doing in Arizona isn't going to be the same in Texas. The employment, the employee uh, laws and protection in California is this thick, but the employee rights in Texas is this thick. So Texas is more of an employer friendly and not employee friendly. It doesn't mean that the employees don't get all the perks they want because it's a competitive market. So you really need to treat your employees well. But when it comes to employers having a good say in what the benefits that they get, Texas is a great company. State, excuse me.
So, you're not a traditional PEO, right? And you're
No, no, I'm
more
not a
than
PEO at all.
yeah, you're more than just a staffing company. So how do you define your model in the simple terms for a business owner?
Okay, so because I've seen so many different models and clients, business owners needing different things, I created a model called an alternate employer of record. Okay, I'm just an employer. Some people would just call it I'm payrolling people, but there is a payroll company that does that. Well, I don't take all of the employees at one location. I can just take a portion of them. In a PEO, they have to take all of them. In a staffing model, they only staff a few of them. They don't take everybody. They only do it for. So in that area, I'm closer to a staffing, but I don't do recruiting.
Okay, that
So
makes sense.
so what we do is we talk to these staffing companies, not the staffing, but the clients who are using staffing companies. And this is just one of the models that we help business owners in. They're paying 35 to sometimes 50% markup on the recruited labor. So someone making $15 an hour or $20 an hour, there's a 50% markup on it. And that's what the staffing companies are going to be charging them. What I do is I say, listen, after the client, you have recruited this labor, it's working in your store. And let's say you really, this is where the margins and the profitability, I help the clients become more profitable. I look at them going, listen, I understand you don't want to bring these people onto your payroll just yet because maybe they're not seasoned enough, they don't know enough yet, but they're really good people, they're really good talent, and they're going to leave. They're going to go somewhere else, but there's not enough money in the budget to pay them an extra 50 cents or a dollar. So what I like to do is sit down and say, listen, where can we get you? Can we get you into the mid 20s and I'll pay for the personal protective equipment, the PPEs. I'll take care of all the labor, just like a staffing company, or just like you want to take them into your house. I can give them the same feeling that they're in-house employees with you, but they're not staff labor with somebody else. And I can give them that comfort and you can give them an extra 50 cents or a dollar more because I just knocked off 10 to 15, maybe 20% off their marked up margin. That's
Okay,
a
so you
big
got
savings.
you're describing things that in at least in my mind kind of the spectrum, right? You've got employee leasing PEO, right? You
Yeah,
got the
yeah,
other end of you got on that spectrum, you got traditional staffing company, a co-employment somewhere there, and then you have the alternative structure, which is what you have, which is very, very unique in the industry.
yes.
So what type of businesses typically benefit most from your model?
Yeah, definitely a blue collar labor industry, uh, manufacturing, steel, anything in the really in the manufacturing area where you're going to have their core group of personnel that's doing the highly skilled labor. Then you're going to have a lot of labor that you just need stuff done. They need boxes filled, they need warehouses stocked, they need distribution going on. You need hands to fill trucks, you need hands to fill boxes. You need, there's a lot of that. There's also in the welding, I have a lot of welding companies, and the welding has a lot of spot welding stuff just to get stuff to a certain phase where they move on down the line, they get to another level, and it goes from there. But a lot of labor in that. We have galvanizing. It's a lot of staff labor in galvanizing. drywall, framing. So it works in a lot of areas where you have your core and then you have your labor that you think is more transient. But when you find that those people you really want to stick onto, you want to hold on to them, and the staffing company is charging you so much, you can't pay them an extra dollar. You move them over to AbleSource, and then all of a sudden, my margin, let's say I'm charging you 25, 26%, and they're charging you 42%. That headspace can pay a lot of wages, or you can just keep it in your bottom line, for next year. But if you want to pay them a little more, because every time they leave, that's another person you have to train.
Uh-huh.
And that's more risk with workers' comp and safety and everything else. It's cheaper to give them an extra 50 cents than it is to train somebody else.
So you lower the cost. Okay, I got that part of it. So when a business owner first hears about what you do at AbleSource, what do they usually misunderstand? Because they're coming from some point of reference, right? Either they've never worked with a staffing company or PEO, employee leasing, and they're doing everything internally, or they have worked with those. What do they typically misunderstand when they first hear about your solutions?
Well, all right. If they're typically the people I'm talking with are really used to outsourcing, they understand outsourcing, they get that part. So they're probably already outsourcing. And if they're not, it's kind of like let's just take this off your plate, you know. And they're a little hesitant at first because they're like, I like to control everything. I need to control. But then I say, listen, you can start with us for a couple of months, 3, 4 months, whatever. Give it a shot. And if you don't like it, we reverse everything right back. No harm, no foul, go back. I don't have any long-term contracts. I've had clients been with me for 20 years. They've never gone. They never leave. Okay. Because my rates, I keep them good. I keep them fair and equitable. I don't need to get rich on one client. Um, it's just yeah, the margins for people are important in that way of what is it going to cost me? What is it going to take? And am I going to lose control of what I'm doing with me? And I know long-term contracts, they can actually say, okay, I'm out. I don't want this. But no one has. But the option is there.
So, where are most business owners most inefficient when it comes to managing their labor and the risk that come along with that labor?
I think it's what they're spending, the spend is always the thing, right? How much margin is someone going to charge you in a staffing company? What can I charge for? And what can they do? Just payrolling them on their own payroll internally, or maybe using like ADP or something like that, right? ADP is pretty cost effective overall, but ADP doesn't bring you your workers' comp, your doesn't bring you your safety programs, doesn't bring you all of the other touches that when you're outsourcing, whether it's with a PEO or otherwise. Like a staffing company doesn't provide that either, but I do. And I'm just going to payroll these people on my FEIN number. And I'm going to treat them like they are in-house employees for you, under your direction, building them with a safety program that mirrors your internal one, not my own internal one, the one that you want them to follow when you finally transition them to your.
So, are there common blind spots or costs that employers are not typically aware of? Or, okay, I've hired, Betty, the HR person, and she's doing the payroll, or I'm having somebody else do it. That, what are the common just the blind spots
Well, all
that
right.
employers miss?
Okay. So a lot of areas that business owners don't focus on because it's not a priority in front of them, is the workers' comp. They don't realize how important the cost factors of what you're paying for in your workers' comp. Every time you have a claim or something, it's like your credit score. If you don't pay your bills on time, your interest rates keep getting higher and higher. Well, you get a workers' comp safety rating, if you will. Everyone starts off with like a 1.0, and if you do really good, you can go to the negative, like 0.9. Well, that's a 10% savings on workers' comp. And if you're not paying attention, you get a claim, and you just let the the workers' comp carrier, your agent, manage that claim, well, guess what? They're really not into closing claims because the higher you pay in workers' comp, they're making 10% of that comp. They're making more money. As your mod goes up, they get paid more money because you're paying more premium. The more you pay in premium, the more money they make. So there's no
Okay.
motivation. There's no motivation for your agent to close claims. And
Right.
you, as a business owner, you have no idea how to process those claims and get them done. Well, because I'm not a workers' comp agent and these employees are on my workers' comp and I know how to close claims, I am a hawk in closing claims and making sure that that rate doesn't go up. Because if that rate does go up for me, that means my entire class or all of my clients, the rates are going to go up. And that's not nice. I don't want to go to my clients and go, hey, guess what?
Right.
Rates are going up because there was a couple of clients over here that were really unsafe and I never closed those claims and my rate went up to 1.48 or something ridiculous, you know? And I'm not doing that. I'm not passing that along to them. If it goes up, I'm going to eat it because it's my fault for not closing claims. Yeah, it's just that's an area where business owners have leakage and they're not paying attention.
And they're not even aware that it's there. So you're incentivized to close those claims, to manage that cost effectively, whereas other firms
Yeah,
are not. Okay, I can see that.
absolutely. Yep.
So are there other fixed costs that employers may not be aware of that
Mm,
negatively impact them?
not really. I mean, you can state by state. Um, there's every state has a different rate for the workers' comp. So let's just say that you're doing business in Texas and then and you're going to open an office or you're going to go do work in California for 6 months. Well, when you bid a job in Texas and you go, oh yeah, okay, look, I'll have 15% profit margin in this if I do this kind of payroll and blah blah blah. That's great. I'll be good. Well, and then you never bid in California, but you bid that same process. You're going to win the bid. I guarantee you're going to win it. You're the lowest one out there, and you can't afford to do the job because the workers' comp out there is so much more. Taxes are so much higher. So if you're not aware of the next state you're expanding into, if you're even, you can use your local staff here in Texas to go to California for 90 days. After that, they have to come back and you have to find new labor or rotate your labor, which is now you're paying for room and board and per diems. And did you really save any money?
So, what do you think the real cost is of having the wrong, I'll call it workforce model in place? It seems like it. You use the word leakage. I mean, you got leakage on workers' comp. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah. So, what do you think the real cost is of having the wrong workforce model in place? Just because they
Well,
don't know.
the cost is well, it could cost you your company. You know what I mean? It could cost you that. It could cost you so much that you're going to create so much debt that you can't keep your doors open because your insurance have gone so up. Like right now, I'm talking to a young lady up in Colorado, and I have a meat pack. I've already a meat with a manufacturing company in Colorado, and I got another one reaching out to me, and they said their insurance went up. It just 100% doubled across the board, all of their insurances. And I was like, well, how did this happen? She goes, I have no idea. It's my dad's company and I need some help. And I was like, okay. So we got on the phone with dad and dad's like, I don't know. I don't know what happened. I said, well, do you have any workers' comp claims? Nope, not at all. And I'm like, that don't sound right to me. But I went on to the NCCI. I brought the company up clean, no claims. Now, meat manufacturing, slaughtering. Does the insurance company they're with just want to get out of that industry? Probably. They don't want them anymore because someone in their underwriters, their actuarialist said, get rid of these guys. We don't want this industry anymore. So how do you do it? Rate them up 100%. They'll run like the wind. So those those are problems. And I have solutions for people that run into those things because you have to have a big network.
Yeah, it's a nice way to say no, thank you. Just raise the price. Okay, I got it.
That's it.
So where do you see companies getting stuck? They're just unable to scale because of people issues. And sometimes it all falls back on the entrepreneur, right? The owner to handle the stuff until they get of a certain size. But so where do you see companies getting stuck?
Culture, absolute culture. Um, People will only stay somewhere for so long. And one thing for sure that I've experienced my entire business career is that, yes, people need more money to live. Okay. But the water is nice and warm and we like it where I'm at. Okay. And I don't necessarily have to move for 50 cents. If my employer really shows me appreciation for who I am and for what I do for him, I mean, appreciation is only going to go so far. Appreciation doesn't keep the lights on, right? We know that. They're not going to knee jerk to jump out the door to go somewhere else. Their boss is dedicated to them, loving on them, helping them, being part of the show. I'm going to tell you, culture. Culture is so big in this industry. Please want to feel appreciated for who they are and what they do. And there's nothing more important. When you've seen probably videos on YouTube or social where a business owner is going down, shaking hands with the employees and patting them on the back and saying, "Good job." And those employees, man, they actually really do appreciate that. They do. It's not much, but you know what? It takes effort. Business owners have to take that time and that effort to go say hello, be appreciative. I mean, my brother Steve and I co-chapter a charity called Sleep in Heavenly Peace. We do this in South Austin, down by the airport, and we build beds for kids that don't have beds. Now, there's over 350 chapters around the United States for this, and we're just fortunate enough to be one of them. And we have what's called the red shirts. The red shirts are seasoned um, uh, volunteers that know what they're doing. And we come and we have a lot of Longhorns just built some beds last Saturday. And great, everyone, great guys, right? Everything all around. The ladies were awesome. The talent was great. The enthusiasm was awesome. But the red shirts show up at a drop of a hat. We had they show up and I asked one of them. I asked this guy Barrett. I said, Barrett, there's a Sleep in Heavenly Peace up where you live in your area. It was like an 8-minute drive. Okay, but why do you drive 40 minutes to South Austin to come to volunteer at ours? He goes, well, you and Steve are doing something right. And I don't know what it is, but man, I just love being around you guys. You got a great team and great energy in here, and everybody shows up. And I had an incident the other day where the wood got dropped off on a Friday and it sat out overnight. They didn't get inside the warehouse. And there was no one there on Monday to bring it in. And it's torrential rains coming down. And I'm like, oh, we got to get this wood inside. So Steve's on the phone calling. I'm calling, trying to get guys. I said, we're going to have to hand carry this stuff into the loading dock door by hand. And I'm going, oh, this is going to be crazy. We got 3 huge pallets of wood outside. And I get down there as fast as I can. And 2 other guys already showed up. And I go next door. And there's a guy sitting in there with on a forklift. I said, hey, I need some help. Can you help me out? He goes, yeah, absolutely. So he came over and I called my brother Steve, who put a shout out to everyone. We had 7 other guys dropping what they are doing in the middle of work, or they're retired, whatever they were in the middle of, they stopped doing it and they came down to help. But we had to call them back because, hey, we got it all done. But they were willing to show up. And I think that's a culture. These people don't get paid. No one gets paid at SHP. None of us take any money. It's all volunteer, 100%, right? But when you can lead in that way and get people to participate because the environment is good, then you're doing something right. And that was a great compliment to hear from him, and why he drives 40 minutes instead of just down the street. So that was nice. It was good to hear.
So in a way, the company owner, don't outsource the HR management, pay all that stuff, right, and go spend time with the employees. Is that kind of what I'm hearing?
Yeah. I mean, take time to recognize your employees, broke them, even if it's staff labor. Okay, even if it's staff labor, because you don't want the staff labor to bail for 50 cents. And if you hire AbleSource, you can bring them onto ours, and we can payroll them through our company, and you can pay them 50 cents anyway.
So next was kind of an interesting question with the culture part of it. So where do companies typically see the biggest financial impact? Is it payroll, benefits, taxes, or something else, such as improving the culture? Because
with the tax dollars that the government gives us to have, we can now pay for 2 business corporate trips a year, which is pretty awesome. Okay, I don't know what it's a max dollar on that at all, but you can have 2 a year, which is amazing. Okay, so I think that if they spent money in that area, showing appreciation, it goes a long way. It goes a long way. It really does. And if you're not going to do a trip because you can't take everybody away from the company, and those you're giving somebody a nice bonus check, you know, they weren't expecting an extra $1,000 at Christmas or $500 at Christmas or $200 at Christmas. It doesn't matter. That's appreciation, and they know that, and that's good. And they know that when you hand them that check personally, you look them in the eye and you say, "Thank you. I really appreciate everything you're doing for us." It's important.
Can see it's not just improving margins, but it's improving the relationships that keep people around, that people feel valued. So,
Yeah.
what you're doing, it actually does improve margins, though, correct?
Well, sure it does, because the quality of work gets better. You're having less redos. You're not, sending things back, and people want to do a good job if they're appreciated. It's just like your kid. You yell at your son or your daughter every time they're doing something. Oh, you knucklehead! What are you doing? Yeah, you're doing it right. Blah blah blah. They don't want to do it at all. But if you love on them and go, you know what? You almost got it. Look at you. You're getting there. You're getting it. Yes, I got faith in you, man. You're going to do a good job here. I look forward to getting you into the next level. So stay at it. I like you. You're a good kid. Whatever, give them that encouragement. Be sometimes we need to be the dad to all these employees. Some of them might not have had great parents growing up. Who knows, right? But it's good for us to be that. And a lot of these business owners, some are older than me, so they're really old school. And it is like pulling teeth to get them to go out there and shake hands. And other guys are not. There's some old school, war guys, who are really good at showing that appreciation. And all they need is a little reminder to do it every once in a while, because they forget. You got to get out there. Come on, walk with me, and I'll walk with them, and I'll talk with the labor, and I'll say, hey, how's your job doing? How's it going? If there's anything on this thing that you could do better or want to do you like your job? Are you looking to do anything different? Are you happy? And I said to them, the floor is yours. You got a one-on-one with the owner right here. What do you want to say? And I'll put him on the spot, and he'll hear what's good, and he'll hear that he loves the company, and the guy, and then the employer gets fed good positive feedback and makes his day, right? I mean, it feeds both ways. And then the employer wants to do more for the employees. So it's a circular thing, and it works really well. But when I'm there, I take the owner with me into this out to the warehouse or what have you, and get them to have those conversations.
So it's not just improving the financial margins, which, that money can be shared.
Oh,
If
absolutely.
the owner wants to, it's improving the social margins inside of the organization.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
So
Yeah.
what surprises the clients the most when you start working with them and they make the switch?
That's a great question. I don't think I've ever really engaged in that. I'm because I just always ask them, what more can I do for you? Where do you want to take your company? I'm always asking those same questions. Are you happy with how things in the situation where things are at? Do you have enough steel coming in? Do you have steel? Excuse me. Do you have steel at good margins right now? Do you want me to help make some phone calls to find out where steel is, where it's going to be? And I'll do all that kind of stuff. If I can find steel somewhere, I'll find it. But I asking them, how they feel about it, I can just tell, that they're really enjoying it, because they walk with me when they go outside. They're like, no, I don't have time. No, no, they walk with me. They take me seriously. They know what I'm doing for them is really to help their business and to help the staff and to help the morale and help productivity and all of it.
It seems like with what you do, it's substantially different, and in ways it adds a lot of value in other ways. And it seems like you could help companies grow faster and more efficiently, and manage risk more so than just the traditional hire the employee and you got your HR people internal, right? You're
Yeah,
able to help them
because
grow.
well, I like to think so. I do. I really like to think so. I think that when I watch the clients through the COVID area, um, a lot of losing people and all that, and where are they going to go, and are they is this company going to shut down or not? Um, and we just really help them navigate all of those issues. And there's a lot of issues with hiring people maybe that are they're legal or illegal and all that, and we help them navigate those issues and mitigate loss and making sure that they're doing things correctly, making sure the I-9s are correct, making sure all the paperwork is correct. So, and from that whole area, I mean, we've spun a lot of new little divisions out of our company.
In just some of the trades that you're in, do you have some industries that are cyclical or some employee in situations where it's seasonal help?
No, it is constant. I mean, the labor industry, we're building houses and fabbing steel and galvanizing steel and um, I mean, chopping meat, cutting meat. I mean, I think there's enough meat eaters in this country that nothing. No, we're not slowing down there. Um, so I even in COVID, we didn't really slow down. We really didn't. We really didn't have any slowdown. We just kept at it, and it was pretty impressive.
So you, in essence, enable employers to be more efficient, employers to be more engaged with their employees, lots of other benefits there. How does this change how the CEO thinks about moving into a new market? Whether it's in the same state or, they're close to someplace and it's just across the state line. Normally that could be a lot of headaches, right? But in essence,
Yeah,
you take care of that?
because they don't have to go into the next state and set up their business as an FEIN, to have employment taxes paid, all of that stuff, because they'll be my employees rolling through AbleSource in that state, and they're just bidding jobs over there, and have labor through my company doing the work. So they really don't have to set anything up and file any taxes at the year end in that state.
Okay, that makes sense.
I have to do that. Every time I'm into another state, I have to expand. But I take that burden off of them so they can just worry about staffing, like getting out there, bidding the job and getting the job done.
So I can see in some ways this is going to take risk off of the owner's plate. You got employment related lawsuits. You just have labor risk.
Yes.
How
Yeah. I
how
mean,
do you
every
have
time you have once you become a business owner, you go ahead, go at it, go out, be a consultant, go do what you want to do. You want to go uh, hang drywall and do one sheet at a time. That's great. But once you hire your first employee, the federal government has a whole new look on you. So you have to do all kinds of stuff. You have to get workers' comp. You have to get your unemployment accounts. You have to get your new hire reporting, because if you hire somebody and you don't report to the state that you have a new hire, and let's say they owe child support and you never garnish or take out the child support from their check, guess what? That's on you now. You have to pay it. You can try to get it from the employee, but he's probably going to quit and go on down the road. But you are stuck paying that those back wages back to mama.
got it? Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So, do you have an example that you can share where your model helps prevent major problems or prevents risk or manages down the risk?
Well, Well, it's a transfer of risk for sure.
Okay.
My job is to try to, mitigate risk as much as I can. Um, but I have a roofing company, and the guy fell off the roof. Now we had all the safety protocols in place. We had everything going on, and then the safety, the workers' comp carrier going, well, he wasn't tied off, or blah blah blah. It's like, well, wait a second, he wasn't on the roof yet. You can't tie off until you get on the roof. The man ended up having a heart attack when he was just out getting to the top. He was 62, 63 years old, and he fell off the ladder and broke his neck when he hit the ground. So that claim is on my workers' comp. It's not on his workers' comp. So his workers' comp claim history still looks safe, still is good. But I take the abuse and the brunt of it, and I have to absorb that and mitigate that loss. And yes. So is there a transfer of risk? There absolutely is. And I take the brunt of that. I basically buy risk, not unlike a bank. Yeah.
Okay.
I buy the risk. Yeah.
And because of the experience that you have with thousands of companies and all kinds of just huge number of employees and employers, you know how to work those claims, how to investigate them. Whereas for an employer,
Yes.
maybe they had one or two in their lifetime, whereas Okay. All right. I can see how that works.
Well, we had one just going on that just resolved itself. It was a miracle. It was a miracle. The guy was working in a factory, and his wrist was really hurting. And this guy's like 60+ years old. Right? The doctor said it's arthritis. It's just arthritis. We can't fix arthritis. It's just arthritis. You're getting old. You know, and he insisted it was more. He insisted, and he went to 3 different doctors, 4 different doctors. All of them said it's arthritis. Well, he found another doctor that would actually operate on it. So, guess what? The insurance company has to pay for that claim. And I'm like, son of a gun. And I can't get out of it. I can't. It's what it is. Well, then he got done from the operation, and he couldn't get back to work. It's 6 weeks. It's 8 weeks. It's 12 weeks. It's 16 weeks. And he can only lift 5 pounds. 5 pounds. I said, well, how's he driving to work? He's driving. He's still getting light duty for him, and he's making labels for us. But how's he getting to work? How's he doing that? He's got to drive a car that's more than 5 pounds of pressure. How's he frying an egg? How's he putting jeans on in the morning? More than 5 pounds. I'm talking to the underwriters and the claims manager for this, and they're going, listen, this is the way we have to do it. I'm going, okay, you know what? Done. I'm sending him home. For no more work available. There's no more light duty. We're done. Send him home. Put him on disability, and I'm just done. I'm not going to mess with him anymore. 2 weeks later, actually, this is just last week, I got a phone call. He's healed with no restrictions.
It's a miracle.
It's a miracle. 5 pounds.
Okay.
He could only do 5 pounds 2 weeks ago, and now he's full recovery. So,
Okay. Just curious, not necessarily with that example, but does your model help an employer attract better talent, less
not really.
turnover? Okay.
No, it really doesn't dance in that space. We take and manage the labor that they give us because we don't do any recruiting. And if it does bring more labor, more employees, it's because the employees are talking about how great the management is. That would be the only thing. So it would be like, no, this place is a great place to work. They pay a fair wage and they're awesome to their employees. That would be the only thing. And if I have any cultural influence in that, great. But I don't try to take any credit for that.
Okay. So when an owner's thinking of selling, right, and they've done all the things that they're working on with your company and Enterprise Sage, how does a potential buyer look at this employment structure?
No differently. It
Okay.
is absolutely no different because it just goes down to their labor costs and it goes into their EBITDA. You know what I mean? It's just a labor cost, and they can decide if the labor cost is too high or too low, or if they say, well, that's too much money to pay for this, and why are you paying 32% or 58% in staffing fees? Why are you doing that? Yeah, it just goes down to the labor cost, and if the new owner can decide that they can do a better job with labor costs, they'll figure that out.
And it's more than just the cost. You're also helping reduce the company's risk because you're
True.
taking on
But
and managing that risk. So that's improved the valuation.
yeah, but like any mergers, they're gonna keep the good and keep the bad. They're gonna evaluate if I'm doing something good or bad, and if the owner says, "Hey, this is Stacy and AbleSource, man, they're awesome. They do a great job. You should probably keep them on." Great, I appreciate it, but I don't have any dreams that the new owner, because all new owners know more than anybody else.
Yeah, that's always an interesting one. So do you work? I'm just curious. Do you work with any private equity firms where they own various companies, and you come in and take care of their companies as a whole?
No, but I do work with boutique banks. Um, And boutique banks are great because they really want to lend money out. That's really their thrust. It's like they got money and they want to get it out in the market. So I introduce my clients to bankers because when I'm advising people, I said, listen, who's your banker? They go, I don't really have one. I'm like, man, you got to have a banker. You don't have a banker, get a good banker, get a good lawyer, have a good HR department. You need these things, on your team. You need them, right? So I tell them right now, let's go introduce you to a banker because you're going to need money. You're going to want to expand. You're going to do this, um, whatever it is. Boutique banks are really more aggressive than you're not going to go to Chase Bank and B of A and Wells Fargo. They really don't care about someone doing 20 million a year in steal or whatever. That's small stuff, man. That's crumbs in their wheelhouse. It keeps their business bankers and a couple people employed, and it makes it look like they have good customer service when you walk in the door. It's all curtain stuff.
Do you want to know your banker and your maker know you, or do you just want to be a number? I got it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
Need to know your bankers.
so, what are some clear signs that a business owner should look at what you have compared to what they do have? And then the flip side of that, what's just not, you just know from experience it's not a good fit. So, where do you see the good fits and the not so good fits?
Well, the good fit is trying to find out what's their motivation. What's their why? Why do you want to outsource this? What is it you're looking to do? What are you trying to accomplish? One of our newer clients who's been with us a few years, um, and he's a steel guy, and he was a referral from. Most of my clients are referrals from someone else. I really don't have the sales force going out there beating doors or cold calling anybody. Most of them are referrals, and uh, they referred him to me because he had this little niche that he just wanted to outsource. He's got like 100 employees, and I have about 30 of them. Okay. Why do I only have 30? Well, this is the niche of labor that's new to welding. So therefore, there's a lot of workers' comp probabilities in this, right? They're not highly skilled yet. They're probably going to burn themselves and not have their eyewear on at times, and they're going to have challenges. Every time he's bringing people in, you know, they go onto my payroll first, and they learn and they hang out. you know, if he wants to move them over, he's only moved a few over because he really likes the model. He thinks that what I charge him for the HR and the safety and everything I bring them, they leave them right there in this little bucket. And the employees, they don't know any different than any guy working next to them if he's staffed or not staffed. They don't know. No one knows. Are you with AbleSource? Are you there? Nobody knows.
It doesn't matter. Right.
It doesn't matter. Yeah. Yeah.
So, do you come across companies that are just not a good fit or a particular industry or risk profile?
you know, I think it's a business owner ideal. If their ideals are to stay, like they want to stay in control, they think it's going to cost them more money, but it, are you trading money and time? Usually, what is your time worth? Right. Um, you know, if I'm going to charge you, $5,000 an hour and it's not worth it, I'd rather do it myself. Right. I mean, there's a balance in there somewhere that you're going to say, you know what? You take care of that, I can be on my boat. You take care of that, I can go on vacation. If you take care of that, I can spend time with my wife and kids. If you take care of that, get that work life that balance, right? If they have a 35,000 or now in today's world, maybe $65,000 HR person sitting in there that's not doing payroll, she outsources it and uses ADP to do payroll. What are you really paying for, right? I'm not saying go fire people, but you don't need to be paying $65,000 for someone that you could outsource it to us and all of it's taken care of, and your safety program and your workers' comp and all the other fun stuff. So it's just a decision and flavor of control and where you want to spend your money and how you want to balance your home work life homeostasis.
So, you help employers with the employee manuals, you help them with their safety programs, safety equipment, training, lots of different things. So, if an owner is evaluating options, right? So this podcast is something new to them. They're learning about different staffing solutions, PEOs, co-employment, whatever it might be. What should they be looking for, and what mistakes should they avoid, which they usually don't know until later?
Right. Well, it all depends what their goal is. If you're a 30-year-old guy and you have 6 or 7 employees, you're just shooting at the hip and you're maybe putting some roofs on houses. Who knows what you're doing? Whatever. You're laying concrete siding or whatever you're doing. Those people are not. I, they're not really planning for long-term future. They're still trying to work in it and grow it, right? They're in it, really wrestling with all of it. They don't know if they're going to be profitable week to week, and that's kind of where they stay. They're bidding jobs constantly and trying to keep up with Paul and trying to keep all these bills going. To me, When I come to them, I feel like I'm having a conversation with somebody that thinks I'm just going to get in their way, and I can't help that. I just like, listen, I want to make it easy for you. And some people will go, oh, please, here, take it, get it off me, right? So it's a really challenging thing with most people. It's a personality type of A type. I got to control everything, or you
Right.
know what? You take it. I'm good. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to grow my business over here. One of the advantages for these business owners when they're up and coming and they're trying to figure it out. If they have 100%, if they're using a PEO and they have 100% of the labor on their PEO or on their FEIN number. They're their employees, or it's a co-employment or 100% employment with them. The owners are limited by what they can put away in a pension or retirement. You cap out depending on your age, 8,000 or 24,000, whatever that tier is going to be. Uh, well, you're only limited because you have to match what the employees are doing, right? You can't run away with the soup and the bread and not share it with the employees, right? The government said, no, no, you can't rape and pillage your company. But if you don't have any employees, you can rape and pillage your company. You can take all the riches out of the company and put them away for yourself. And depending on your age bracket, you can put 100,000, 200,000, whatever it is, whatever your company is generating. And you have to talk to maybe someone like you, Craig, to be able to explain how that money can be put away for them. Whereas uh, when they move the labor, the 10 or 15 or 20 people to my FEIN, they have no employees. And there's no mandatory matching of 401ks, no mandatory benefits they have to participate in. So they can put more money away for themselves, and they can, buy more vacations with their employees if they want to do with that cash, whatever they want to do.
So different structure derives different or creates different options, which they may
Yes,
not have currently. Yeah,
correct.
just curious. Stacey, you've been in the industry for a couple decades plus. Where do you see the industry going over the next 5 to 10 years?
Well, I don't think it's going to go anywhere. I think that the outsourcing of labor is a perpetual thing. People are doing more and more with AI. Um, AI is not going to process workers' comp claims. You know, AI
Right.
AI can write a safety manual for you, but the AI isn't going to implement the safety manual for you, right? So there's only AI is only going to take things so far. um you know it can build scenarios, sure, but who's going to build the remedy for that scenario? You have to do it by hand, you have to do it by teaching and hands-on learning, you have to do all of that part. So that's, outsourced companies like AbleSource can handle those issues for you. And I think that the future is more people will probably be doing more outsourcing and getting, because when Obamacare came through, everyone said, I don't have any employees. And they outsourced them all. And this industry just went skyrocket. I mean, it really ballooned up because you can't tell me I have to buy benefits for my employees. I don't have any employees. I outsourced them all. So the
Sense?
American entrepreneurial mind, as the USA as we go, we will always find a way, you know. Um, we'll trying to troubleshoot all the rules that the government gives us. We navigate around it. We figure it out, right? And it's not, well, you're not lying, cheating, and stealing. You're just playing within the rules that the government has written, and we figure out how to make those benefits and those rules work to our favor.
Entrepreneurs figure it out and get it done. That's what we
No,
do.
absolutely, absolutely.
Stacey,
And yeah.
Stacey, just a couple more questions for you. What advice did you receive in life that impacted you, and or what advice would you like to share with others to impact
Mm,
their life?
gosh. More than anything else, speak with impeccable words. Try not to uh, disparage anybody. Always use words of positive and uplifting words, corrective words that have truth in them. But truth delivered with kindness is a whole lot easier than "you're an idiot." It may be true, but that's not a good way to say it, you know? So be impeccable with your words, and be a man of your word and have integrity. If you can't do something, say you can't do it. If you don't know, say you'll figure it out. There's a lot of things that I've never known and I don't know. And someone asks me, "Can you do this?" I say, "Maybe. I'm going to check it out. I'll see. I'll let you know if I can or can't. My company is AbleSource, and if I can, I will." Because
Got it.
there's a thing in the Bible that says if you have the ability to do something, you're obligated by that ability, by that gift of God, to use that service, to use that skill to help those people. So if you have the ability to, you're obligated to. And sometimes that's a heavy burden for a lot of people. It becomes very heavy because there's so many times people just say, God, I don't want to do that. I don't want to. I don't want to help this person. I don't want to do that. People are taking too much from me. But you go, look how much you have, you know, be blessed with what you have. Say what you're grateful for every day. Say your prayers every day. Keep your word in the Bible every day. The Lord is a great provider and he will do what you ask. Be impeccable with your words.
Thank you, Stacy. Appreciate those words. How do people get a hold of you? How do they find you?
Well, ablesource.info. It's not .com. It's .info, INFO. So ablesource.info, or you can call my cell at 602 Yes, that is a Arizona number, but I am in Austin, Texas area, actually Round Rock, but that's where I'm at now. It's 602-885-4488.
And you do business across the country, right? Not just
All
Texas and
over. Yeah.
Arizona,
No,
all over the
no,
place.
we're all over we're state to state, all the way across, man, coast to coast.
Excellent. Stacy, thank you for being with us today. Thank you for our listeners. Encourage you to reach out to Stacy. Just have a conversation. See how we can help you out. Thank you again, Stacy. Appreciate your time. Thank you,
Thanks for
everybody.
having me here. Hey, one more thing. What's that dog back there? What's that kind of? You got a husky back there? What are you doing back
Yeah, we've had a couple huskies. That one, her name was Kara, and she knew about 120 to 140 words. We lost count after a while.
there? Wow.
But she would listen and then she would try to talk. And she was smart enough to look, literally, she would come up to a street and she would not cross if there was a car coming. And she would look left and right. Yeah, just, canines and pets are our friends.
Oh
And
yeah.
that was just a wonderful picture we got to
Yeah.
have.
Awesome. Awesome. I love my doggies. They're awesome. Awesome. Awesome.
There it.
It's sad when they
Thank you.
leave us. It's very sad when they leave us, but they can't stay with us forever, and that's a sad moment.
That's it, Stacy. Thanks for asking. Appreciate your time, buddy. Have a
All right.
wonderful
Take
day,
care.
everybody. Bye.
Thanks for having me. Bye bye.